All right. So let's bring in Mike now for kicking it with Knuble. Hey, Mike.
Hi guys, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. We're settling on Halloween. You can't see out the window there, but we're having Halloween and it's snowing.
Well,
so
there you go.
so you'll
Nice.
hear some kids coming in and going here. I guess my wife in and out, but but it's
Gotcha.
no, it's good, buddy. Good.
Nice. Yeah, it's good. Just wanted to introduce you to Paul, new co-host.
Hi,
Does the company
Paul.
stuff with me.
Hey, how
Um,
are you, Mike?
Yep, there you go. Paul meet Mike, Mike meet Paul. There we go. Okay, a couple of things. Mike, obviously we haven't talked since the home opener. Flyers finished up the month of October last night for their games. They went 4-4-1 in the month. Some good games, some bad games. Just any overall thoughts on the month in general?
Right. I think that's kind of a microcosm of everything, right? Some good stuff, some bad stuff, but better, I guess. And you can think of some that maybe got away, some that could have done better. But at the end of the day, you're a 500 team, and it's not horrible. It's better than being 2-6, or something.
Right.
So it's like I say, it's something. It's something, I guess. Something to talk about, and I guess not a horrible start by any means.
Yeah. No, definitely. Paul, any questions for Mike?
Yeah, obviously, things have been interesting pretty much as of late. So kind of just want to start a little bit more lighthearted. Did you see the alligator that made its way into Wells Fargo the other night?
A real alligator.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, what? Somebody brought it in?
Yeah.
Wally, the emotional support alligator.
Here it is right
Oh,
here.
you know what? I did see that. Yeah, you know what? I did see that. Yeah, that is. I mean, people are so damn weird. Like, I can't. They won't let you bring a little person, but they're gonna let you bring an alligator into the stadium. I mean, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
And if you need an alligator to feel good about yourself, you probably shouldn't be going Flyers games.
Yeah, I think you might have to, check out some other places that could help you with mental health than going
Where
to.
does that guy sit?
I guess in the disability section.
I guess I would think so. You can't put him in the regular seat. I don't know what.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want an alligator taking a bite of my cheesesteak. So
I would walk by that and think like, well, are they doing something between periods? Like is some guy coming out and showing some animals, or their kids? He's going down the wives' room and show the kids. Like the organization brought them in for the kids to show them like some pets and snakes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that was wild.
I don't know. I did see that. Now that you say that, that's
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he got denied entrance to the Citizens Bank the other month, so at least he made it in this time.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I know. It's people.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. I was looking at that. I'm like, of course they would let this thing in. Couldn't get it in at CBP for the Phillies playoff game, but gets in at Wells Fargo. Yeah, so I mean, just kind of going off that. I know it's a little bit of a different topic, but last night's game, considering that was at last night's game, is that the craziest thing like that you've ever seen brought into a game? Is there anything you could think of in your career that's maybe been brought in?
Been brought into a game.
Yeah, that maybe you guys find out about.
I mean, the fact that you can bring dogs into stadiums or whatever is that's fine, I guess, and that's kind of new, I think, to a lot of people. But yeah, no, an alligator or some snake wrapped around a guy's neck or something. I don't know, but maybe somebody had a little gerbil in their bag or something that they needed to like pet or some little hedgehog. But I don't know.
That's crazy.
That's not crazy, but kind of back to the team there. I mean, like Couturier's kind of given the bump that they needed, right? He's basically a point per game guy. Atkinson's been that bump they need, and Carter Hart is at a 921 and a 2.3. He's giving him a shot every night, and so
yeah,
and just scoring three and change a night. It's you're gonna have it's scoring a little bit more than 3 and giving up a little bit more than 3 equals 4 and 4, right? So I think the numbers are pretty telling. I think power play is a little pedestrian in the bottom third of the league right now, and PK is probably in the middle. So kind of in the middle again, it's just kind of something, not great, not worse, but and then combine the goalies are Carter Hart's doing his job, and Erson's had a little bit of a struggle to start, but the vets seem to be doing their jobs, and then again, it's finding these spots for the young kids and where Torts wants to put them. And, some nights they'll all be playing, some nights two will be playing, and mix and match them a little bit. So, I think stuff's still kind of working itself out, and they're kind of analyzing day to day.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's interesting because I think with Urson, you mentioned him a little bit. He's kind of had a tough couple of games so far. He had Dallas and Anaheim. The Dallas game, that was his first game since the preseason, so that one you can kind of throw out the window a little bit. He did make some good saves late in that one. Had the one in overtime as well. The Anaheim game, in my opinion, I didn't think it was his best game for sure. I mean, he owned it in post game, but he also kind of, I didn't really think the team was great in front of him. Paul, I don't know if you want to add to that and kind of segue on a little bit, but it just kind of felt like, just not the best game overall.
The Anaheim game was really rough, kind of, I feel like on both ends. Torts actually mentioned the other day, he didn't think that they started bad, and they really didn't. They were trying to compete against a team that was pretty even with them skill-wise, I feel like. Maybe the Flyers were even a little bit better. It was just a battle of pressure, really, and Anaheim was just capitalizing on every time there was a turnover or some sort of, mistake at the blue line. And the defense just wasn't on top of it. Ersson really got hung out to dry for the most part.
Sure.
I think at the same time, he didn't really make a save to keep them in the game. Like if they needed momentum from a simple stop, he didn't really make those saves. So it kind of goes hand in hand. I feel like neither the team or Ersson himself really helped each other. So,
right.
At the end of the day, it's a 7-4 game. I mean, a couple more saves will.
Yeah, no, I know it's right. Yeah, you need a couple more saves. 7 goals is 7 goals, right? Like it's either a combination of terrific breakdowns, and so that's coaching staffs like we can't, 7. This team's not going to outscore 7. I mean, it's not.
No.
They're going to have obviously have trouble putting them up, in a 4-goal game, let alone 7. So. And Ersson, in his defense, it's early again, and he's probably like, well, guys, throw me a bone here a little bit, help me out, like you guys got to give me something so I can give you something back, and so I'm sure, obviously never being a goalie, but God, you're like some nights you're like, man, you guys got to help me as much as I can help you here, and try and eliminate costly turnovers and dumb plays and lost coverages and grade A chances. So on a typical night, if a team gives up 11, 12 grade A chances, that's a good night, and I'm sure when you give up 7, you're giving up 17, 19 grade A chances, when the coaches start really looking at it, and it's a hard way to survive. And you might be able to pull it off every once in a while, but a young goalie, you got to give them a little bit more than that. And I'm sure coaching staff at that point be like, hey, you got to help a guy out here a little bit and do your part. So those stats are a little misleading in that right now, but but I'm sure get a few more games and they'll see it, and then you'll have to make a decision come after, mid-December or something, what you want to do. Hopefully he catches his, gets on his feet there and has a couple strong games before mid-December or so.
Right. No, exactly. And I think part of it too, Mike, is, and, just to kind of add to that, like he hasn't really played a lot either. I mean, Hart's played a lot of the games. I mean, you kind of know that's how that's going to go. Yeah. I'm not blaming Torts for it. It's just kind of, that's how it's been. Like they've had, I mean, out of the gate, you go from Edmonton, Minnesota, Vegas, Carolina. You got Buffalo in a home and home, and then you have LA on the weekend. And that's just, to start off November, but they had a lot of tough games. And I think it's to their credit to come out of it 500, like you mentioned earlier. I think that's a good thing. Mike, question for you here from me on the D. At least we mentioned earlier, we were a little skeptical on the defense. It's actually been pretty good. They haven't really had too many issues, to be honest. They've had some pretty good collective games. I think Sean Walker looks awesome. He's looked like one of their better D to start the year. Just any overall thoughts on the defense so far?
Well, again, it's, you talk about 7 goals the other day, and then, just giving up those, obviously multiple chances. I watched a game last night. The final goal was another defensive breakdown in front, more of a winger over crashing down to the net and not being where it was behind him. And I felt if he just held his ground, so it's a combination of, defense and forwards and playing the defense and playing well defensively. Like this team's got to be their mantra when they come in every night. You're like, well, hey, we've got to be good in our own end. And, you know, Carter Hart's going to give you 60 starts, 65, maybe if you're pushing towards 70, or, you're asking a lot. But in reality, that's how you're going to have to get there, is being great in your own end. And Torts will get that out of them eventually. But they won't, you know, that's how it's going to have to be. And with young D, they're going to have to learn on the job, you know, a little bit. And you're going to have to, you really, you know, there's going to be a lot more teaching. It's not going to be kind of like motivating, like, come on, guys, you got to be better. You're going to have to show them how to be better, you know, and kind of change some mentalities. And, you know, it looks like, you know, Sanheim's playing a ton of minutes, you know, and he's, like you said, Walker came in, has been a nice little surprise, you know, and then, you know, Cam York's doing, you know, he's logging some decent minutes, you know, but at the end of the day, those guys are 20, you know, they're young guys, you know, and you don't have that 28-year-old to 32-year-old, you know, Mark Stoller probably counting on him a little bit. He seems to be on injury reserve, you know, and then you know, injured, you know, that's a guy you'd really like to have, because it's so valuable just talking to those guys between periods. And even if he's playing a little bit less, he's going to talk to them and settle them down and be a good presence when they do have film and little sessions. And if they're talking to guys, and kind of calm them down and pull a guy aside and be like, here's what the coach is trying to say. All right, here's what he's trying to say. Okay, you know, like don't get all worried about that. You know, always being negative to you. Here's what he's trying to say. If you can do this, you'll be fine.
Yeah. You mentioned pulling guys aside. You know, one of the guys that was pulled aside for 6 games was Morgan Frost. He came back the other night. I don't know, you know, too much about how much experience you have being benched, or just whether it was down with an injury. You know, what is it like kind of as a player to watch your team succeed while you're not out there?
Right. It's always, you know, I mean, you're built to get to this level because, you know, you're pretty good. You're a pretty good hockey player, right? And you've made those sacrifices, and you've learned to persevere, and you've learned to climb the ladder on good days and bad days, you know. But, you know, you get up to the NHL, and for a young player, he's feeling like, yeah, I want to play. And it's hard, you know, it's hard to, you know, it's the competitor in you that, you know, it's hard. I mean, it's like you're not pissed, but you're jealous, I think, a little bit. You know, you want to be out there helping the team and stuff. So the trick is really, you know, finding a way, you know, physically and mentally to stay ready to play, and not, when you do get out there, not to be, you know, have a lack of confidence. And it's such an oxymoron, right? Like, it's like, you know, you're not playing, they're telling you you're not good enough, but when you go play, have great confidence, you know? And so I always tell athletes, you got to kind of be dumb. You got to be kind of stupid and just believe in yourself. And when you get your chance in there, you know, make it simple, keep it simple, skate. If you can, get in on the forecheck, create trouble with your feet, finish your checks. And then when you know a shot's imminent, get to the front of the net, you know, and if you get a good chance of shooting a chance in the house, and, you know, in a good scoring area, put it on puck, you know, or put the puck on net, you know, put that shot on net. And then, you know, as that stuff starts to happen, you start to build some momentum, then you make your plays a little bit more. But
right,
for a young guy, Frost, coming in, I would say skate, move your feet, try and finish your checks. And when you see a shot's there, and if it's uncharacteristic of you, then figure out a way to get to the net. Be noticed for something on the positive side, you know, and then above all, be good in your own end.
Right. And to Morgan's credit, he did that last night. I mean, he comes back after 6 games. I thought he was great. You know, he didn't have any points. He doesn't have any on the season. But, you know, and that's kind of the frustrating thing, I think, with Torts for me, Mike, is just, you know, you go from, you know, a couple tough games to start, or actually really one tough game to start off the year. You lose the game in Ottawa, and then Frost doesn't see those for 6. Well, it's like, you know, Tippett hasn't played great up until that point. Cates had 1 shot attempt through the first 4 games. And again, that's just attempts. That's not shots on goal. You know, there's other guys that are just like, you know, the leash is a little longer, you know what I mean? And he doesn't, you know, he just doesn't have that, unfortunately. But, you know, outside of last night, I thought he played well. You know, I think last night he had at least 3 quality scoring chances that he set up for connecting. And towards his credit, you know, he doesn't play for 6, but he also does come in, and it's not like he put, you know, he subbed him out for Paling, who was on that 4th line, that the Flyers didn't seem like they were going to break it up. They did, and they actually scored a goal. But he gets subbed out, and then he puts him on the second unit. He gets a little bit, or a second line, gets second unit power play as well. So I think that's kind of the thing too, is that he's able to kind of come in and play a little bit. but yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think for him, and it's doing the little things and kind of exploiting that too. As for Coots, Mike, you mentioned him earlier. I wanted to ask you about him. There's a stat here. He's obviously second on the Flyers in points. He's got 8 and 9 games, 2 goals, 6 assists. Some underlying numbers. He has 47 puck battle wins, which is number 1 in the NHL right now. He's got 47, and then Tavares, Eriksson Ek, and Draisaitl are all tied with 38 for second, and then Sean Monahan has 35. Any thoughts on that right there? Because obviously Coots is such a big guy in so many ways in the draws, which the Flyers haven't been great at faceoffs, but obviously we've talked about that before. Penalty kill, power play, obviously leadership on the ice, all that stuff. But the puck battle wins, I think that's a really intriguing number.
Oh, it is. I mean, it shows his two-wayness, right?
Right.
And in fact, all those players you listed are great two-way guys. They do it all. They can score and they can play in their own end. And, I think that's really, really great for the younger players to see. So, here's a guy's coming off injury, coming back in the lineup. And, I mean, he's not taking the easy way out. He's going the corners and he's winning puck battles and getting knocked around and coming out with a puck. So, that's like I said, the Selke in him, that Selke type guy in him. And so, and all those guys that he's with, are awesome two-way guys. So just a great example of leadership and stuff that Torts like to see. And then, it translates into, point per game on a team that's underscoring a little bit. And so, he's scoring, and that sure, what else it shows you is that he's feeling good, right? He's not feeling like timid physically. I'm not talking about being like worried about winning battle, but just physically how you feel. And if you feel like, I feel strong enough where I can roll up my sleeves and get the corners and I feel like I can not be thinking about my back hurting or something, any kind of injury coming soft. So, I think that's a good sign for Flyer fans and here early on. And I mean, it sounds like he's playing every game. They aren't holding him back at all. And, he's playing every night and, playing, what are upper teens in minutes and, maybe close to 20 some nights, depending on what's happening. So, maybe Torts holds him back, in a 7-4 game where it's, sliding away a little bit. Maybe he holds him back a little bit, give him a little rest. But, in those nail biters like last night, tough games, he's going to be seeing a ton of ice time, And so it's good. Right. It's a good positive sign to see.
Yeah, no, definitely. Paul, you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's just ultimately this team is kind of what it is, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that people can kind of guess and take away from a hot start. We know Tortorella teams, they start quick, and then, eventually with a roster like the one that we have, it's probably going to end up falling off. It's not, going to maintain the consistency that they have right now. Is there anything you would say to people who maybe have really high expectations to kind of temper those, maybe?
Well, I mean, I don't want to tell anybody that, not to have high expectations. I think they do it internally in the locker room. They do, and, they're coming to win every night. And so it'll be a good situation. These kids will learn a lot. It's how they take towards his, I wouldn't say it's criticism, but, it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of video. There's going to be a lot of teaching, and that's a challenge for a coach for this type of team, that there is going to be a lot of teaching and there has to be a lot of listening, right? It's a two-way street, and will there be disagreements for the rest of the year? Absolutely. Are there going to be little dust-ups and, and post-game press conference blow-ups at somebody? Absolutely. But, every kid's going to be better in that room and compared to April, and they're going to be tougher. Their skin's going to be tougher, and they're going to be better hockey players if they listen and keep their mouth shut. And you're going to get hauled in the office by the scruff of your collar and you'll be like, going to see the principal, and that's how it is, man. I know that's how it is. But, John's super respectful. He's going to teach those guys and help them, better their careers. And part of that is being told things you don't want to hear sometimes, and how to be better and what we need more of you, what you're not doing. It's how you take that, how you digest that, and how you move forward. So those classy young players, the vets can handle it. They'll figure it out, and they've earned their right to be where they are. But these young guys who are figuring it out, like they're gonna have some days where they're gonna be like, and now I'm gonna sit you because of this, and there'll be a reason why so and so is not playing on a certain night. Then team starts to roll, some get some wins. Well, all of a sudden that one night sitting is turned into 3 or 4 because the team starts doing well. And them's the breaks, man. That's the way it goes when you're a young player.
Right. Last one here from me, Mike. You mentioned the vets kind of being able to handle that well. Travis Sanheim did that. He's really handled it well. He's been great. Second in the NHL in ice time. He was like, I think maybe 15, 16 seconds behind Drew Doughty, who was number one in the league in total time on ice. He doesn't have too many points, only one goal through the first 9 games here for the Flyers, but he's looked really good. I mean, he's played like a number one D. Again, we talked about the D so many times and just who would take that number one spot. I think he's really taken that, by the collar and just really kind of earned that and owned that position to start the year. Just any, just kind of thoughts on Sanheim and just his overall game and kind of how he's kind of turned this, ship around.
Yeah, I mean, it's somebody's got to lead the charge a little bit on defense, right? And you got to take a young group and lead them a little bit. And you look for like Cam York to take another big step. He's getting a good chance. It seems like I feel like he's kind of done with Lehigh Valley, and probably heading back there. They probably tell him to get a spot, get a place to live up here, and we're gonna live with you a little bit here. But saying the goals will come, and again the priority is going to be keeping him out more than him putting him in. So. If he's steady and big and rangy and healthy, then, that's a good thing. And so, you couple that with good defensive play and a strong Carter Hart who's looking to have a good year. He's off to a great start, at a 921 already, and so it's, those are good signs for that. And then, kind of some younger guys, we talked about the Walker kid, Cam York coming up and sounds like, that the Russian Uzamula and Andre are, he's down, they're up, they're down a little bit. Those guys might bounce around a little bit more between Lehigh and Philly. So, but, their top 4 guys are everyday guys are going to have to carry the bulk of the load and have to probably overperform a little bit for that team to do well. And I guess we'll see in another month or 2.
Paul, you got anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I guess one last one. Obviously in a rebuild, the whole youth movement is the kind of the big story. But one of the things that kind of goes underappreciated is, I don't know if you saw Nick Delorier against Carolina there, the shift of a lifetime leading to that half-away goal in the first period. How important is it to, kind of find a balance between the young players and also developing that like veteran presence in that kind of environment in the locker room?
Well, there's certainly, like Hathaway and Nick are kind of they're in a unique spot, right? They really don't move. They're like fourth line, just their spots, right? So the young guys, when they come in, they're probably playing in the top 9, right? They aren't getting stuck on the fourth line and having to dump pucks in and check. They have a little more leeway to come in and try and make their plays and be comfortable in that respect and get, those top 9 situations and top 9 minutes. So, they're having the veteran guys, I mean, that embrace that role and kind of wear their spot. They've been around for a while, and so they know the game, and they know the game, how the management game of it too. The management side of it, where they slot in. So, obviously they're real anchors in the lineup, and the fact that they don't really move around or come in or out, and rightfully so, they're brought in as unrestricted guys to kind of shore up that part, and help recruits and help Atkinson and Mark Stahl be an influence. So, and those guys are gritty too. The young guys, it's a little protection for them too. It's a little bit, they want to start, okay, team says, all right, they're playing a bunch of young guys. Let's see if we can't bully them out of the game or push them out of the game and make it real hard on them. And then all of a sudden, obviously Torts knows that game, and he's going to send, Nick and Garrett out there and let them run around a little bit and kind of, ruffle some feathers and stir the drink a little bit and see what happens, and then, and provide those young guys with a little bit of, big brotherness, if you will, and kind of watching on the, watching the block for you, and so kind of, which is good. And these days, that's kind of that version, and how the game's evolved, and that's who those guys are, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, those guys, they've added their spark, and I think there's a lot of little things that they do well too. Mike, this is the last one for me, and then we're good. It's probably the most important, easily the most important question I've ever asked you, as we've kind of been doing the pod. Favorite Halloween candy?
Oh, candy corn, and everybody hates it. I just read an article just today how everybody hates it. I like candy corn. I know people are, but I like Twix. So I'm already picking off the thing over here. So I've already eaten about 6 Twix bars, and I'm eating licorice. and what else? Oh, Snickers, yeah. But candy corn is just so easy to walk by the dish and just grab a handful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't do too much candy corn. I get stuck in my teeth.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So, well, yeah.
Gotcha.
I know everybody hates candy corn, but I'm like one of the last guys to actually like it. So, read a big article about it on CNN today about how people hate candy corn. I'm like, I still like it.
That's
like, it's not a gummy, but it's not chocolate. It's like some weird, like waxy thing in between.
It's just sugar. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like
straight sugar.
Just some weird sugar concoction that just compressed.
Yeah.
Cut up into a triangle.
Right. Yeah. Three different, and all three colors they taste the same. There's no difference in any of it.
And I eat it by the color too. I nibble off the first part, then I eat the next color. And I don't know why.
That's good. There you go. All right. Well, yeah, Mike. Again, happy Halloween to everybody out there and all that. And
I got to get out there and hand out some candy now with my wife.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Make sure you get out the full size candy bars.
Yeah, we did. They already went through them all, I think. We got a bunch of kids early. I think they already went through them all. So we had 3 or 4 boxes. And like I said, it's snowing. You won't get as many kids today, but they've already ripped through those. Those are gone the first 20.
Nice. There you go. Kids are doing it right.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Thank you.
All right, boys.
We'll talk to you next week. All right.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
All right, Mike. See ya.